Have you ever noticed like how those really successful sales teams, the ones that are consistently crushing it, it almost feels like there's something more to it than, just like the strategies or the product knowledge?
Oh, absolutely.
We're diving into this today.
Yeah.
We've got a great excerpt here from the Sales Experts blog.
Okay.
It's called Soft Skills in Sales Leadership. And I think this is going to be really interesting
Yeah, for sure.
because it's all about those kind of intangible things
Right.
that maybe you can't necessarily like put on a spreadsheet, but that make a huge difference in the real world.
I think you're going to be surprised by what you find when you start looking into this stuff.
Yeah, and what stood out to me right away was that the blog is really making this argument that soft skills
Okay.
are these like silent engines driving sales success.
I like that, silent engines.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it's not just about like, being nice or, having good manners. It's like it really directly impacts the bottom line.
It's about leadership. The kind of leadership that makes a difference in actual results.
So they highlight a bunch of different soft skills in the blog,
Sure.
but I kind of want to focus on a few that really jumped out at me.
Okay. Sounds good.
And the first one was emotional intelligence, EQ.
Ah, yes, EQ. That's a popular one these days.
It is, and I feel like sometimes it can be a little bit of a buzzword.
Definitely.
But how does the blog actually tie it to real sales success?
Well, you see people with high EQ, they're really good at building trust and rapport, and not just with clients.
Okay.
It's with their teams too,
Interesting.
Like, think about it. You're in a tough negotiation. A leader with strong EQ, they can sense if the other person's hesitant. Maybe they understand the things that they aren't saying out loud, their objections.
Right.
And then they respond in a way that kind of like builds a bridge instead of,
Instead of shutting it down.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like they're kind of like reading the room, but it's like a deeper level.
It's more than just reading the room. Right. It's understanding what's going on beneath the surface.
Yeah, and you were talking about building those connections and relationships. I feel like that's got to be huge in sales. Yeah. Where it's all about, like building that trust.
Trust is everything.
Yeah.
Especially in sales.
Okay, so EQ, we're seeing how that plays out in those like kind of one-on-one interactions.
Yeah.
But what about on a team level? We were talking about leadership.
Oh, absolutely.
How does a sales leader with high EQ kind of approach that team dynamic?
Well, let's say you've got a team member and they're not performing as well as they usually do. Now, a leader with good EQ, they're not going to jump to conclusions. They're going to sit down with that team member, have a conversation.
Okay.
Really try to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And maybe they discover that, oh, this person's really struggling with this new product feature. And so they offer some extra support, some resources, some training.
Right. So it's like meeting people where they're at.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And that's EQ in action. And it leads to individual growth and team growth.
Right. So EQ is super important.
Definitely.
Let's move on to another one that the sales experts really highlighted, which was adaptability.
Okay.
And I think we all know the sales landscape is constantly changing.
It never stands still.
It's so dynamic.
Yep.
And, the sales experts were really saying, like, being rigid in sales is like a recipe for disaster.
A recipe for disaster, for sure.
Because, client needs are always changing. There are new challenges popping up.
All the time.
So how do they say that leaders can kind of like
thrive
in that environment?
Well, leaders who can adapt, they actually do really well in this kind of setting.
Okay.
And it's not just about reacting to change. It's about anticipating it and adjusting their strategies before things even really change.
So it sounds like it's almost like a mindset shift.
It is, but it's also a skill that you can develop.
Okay, so it's not just like you're either adaptable or you're not.
Not at all.
Like there are things that people can do.
Absolutely.
To kind of get better at this.
The sales experts actually recommend a framework called the GERO model.
Oh.
GEODO stands for
okay.
Goal, reality options, and way forward.
Okay, so it's like a step-by-step process.
Exactly.
To kind of work through those challenges.
It helps you assess the situation, think about different possibilities, and then come up with a plan.
So instead of just like, throwing your hands up and being like, oh my gosh, everything's different.
Right.
You've got like a system.
You have a system, you've got a process.
Yeah.
You're being strategic about it.
Okay, so that's adaptability. Really interesting stuff. And then the last one I wanted to touch on was this idea of coaching and development.
Ah, yes, because a good sales leader doesn't just close deals themselves, right?
Right.
They help their whole team to be successful.
Exactly. And the sales experts really highlight this.
They do.
Like they say top sales leaders are like incredible coaches.
They are.
And It's not just about telling people what to do.
No.
It's about really understanding their strengths.
Right.
Providing them with the right kind of guidance and support.
Individualized support.
Yeah.
Tailored to their needs.
So it's like, I'm thinking back to my own experiences, and I've definitely seen how, like, a really good coach can totally transform a salesperson.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not about micromanaging.
No.
It's about helping them find their own path to success.
Finding their own way and owning it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, imagine you've got a sales leader, and instead of just saying, go make more calls,
Right.
they're like, okay, let's sit down. Let's talk about what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
Maybe we can refine your pitch a little bit.
Practice some different scenarios.
Yeah, and like build that confidence.
Exactly. That's what a great coach does.
So after this deep dive, I think it's really clear that these soft skills, it's not just about being friendly and personable.
It's deeper than that.
It's like they're really strategic assets.
Yeah, they are.
That can make or break sales success.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
As you go about your week, I want you to think about this.
Okay.
What's one small step you can take to cultivate some of these skills, whether it's emotional intelligence, adaptability, or that coaching mindset within your sales team?
Yeah.
Because even a small change can have a ripple effect.
Absolutely. And, for folks who want to really dive deep into all of this, definitely check out the full blog post on the Sales Experts website.
It's got a lot of great information in there.
Yeah. Tons of valuable insights for anybody who's looking to really kind of level up their sales leadership game.
Level up, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.